Alright, so here I am at TuneUp, the Manly Salon. If you're a guy and you like cold beer, you need to come visit Frank. Well, that's the local one that I've got. That's the owner of it. Super nice guy. If you like free beer, come here. They've got some free beer they give out, and I mean they do all kinds of stuff. They do your nails, your neck hair, and beards and mustaches. And this is a before, and then all this mess. And I'll show you an after when I get done. Alright, there's the finished product. You can tell. Clean cut. Smelling nice. Turned out good. I like it. It's clean, cleaner. I don't know how long I'm gonna go with the beard. I just had them straighten it up, shorten my hair, throw some salve in it. You can go to their websites. I think they're a franchise, and this guy Frank, he's a super nice guy. He owns a couple of them, I think. But yeah, check those guys out. If you're a guy and you've not been to one of the tune-ups, check it out. Nah, I can't do it. All right, let's go work on something. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of What's in the Box. Hang out. We're about to find out what's in the box. Alright guys, let's see what's in the box, alright? See my address, you'll be mailing stuff to my house. I don't know, maybe I should let you. I like opening stuff. Alright, what have we got today? There it goes. What is all that? Mishimoto swag bag. What is in the Mishimoto swag bag? Well, it smells nice. Whatever it is. It smells fruity. Okay. Boy, it does. We have the Mishimoto. I think maybe that's an air freshener. Has to be. It smells good. One of the little penguins. It's got the little suction cup, I guess, to hang in your car. We have a koozie for your drink, a lanyard, we have a couple of brochures of some of the items they carry. And what this actually is a welcome to Team Mishi. So, we got sponsored by Mishimoto as well. So now we have our second sponsor. And there's our little sticker. A couple of stickers we got. Mishimoto stickers, so you're going to see us run those. Sent me a shirt. Let's see what the shirt looks like. So we actually do have our second sponsor. And this is just a partial sponsor. And if you know anything about Mishimoto, you know it's a really, really, really big company. So we have to establish that we're going to be out doing this and make it worth them spending money or giving us the breaks and discounts. A lot of your sponsorships is not, they'll send you a whole bunch of stuff. You got to understand that. Sponsorship can include, but not limited to, they can give you some stuff. They can absolutely send you some stuff, you know, at no cost. But generally what a sponsorship consists of is pretty much an extensive discount. You still have to pay money because you're going to buy some of this stuff anyway. We are anyway. But a lot of your sponsorships will consist of just a discounted rate. But we got a shirt, and so that's our Mishimoto shirt. And you notice this is a big old shirt because the last company didn't have a 3X, and I'm fat, so I gotta have the fat guy shirt. So yeah, that's the new information there too. Guys, if you don't know what Mishimoto is, you actually go to Mishimoto's website. And if you're a car guy and you're into the tuning scene or drifting or any of that stuff, it'll take you 2 seconds to figure out. And if you're into this, you already know who Mishimoto is. If you're in any kind of motorsports type stuff, trucks, they offer across the board, intercoolers, all types of stuff. So yeah, if you don't know who these guys are, check them out. If you're doing anything with cars or trucks or even side-by-sides, I think now they carry. And they have a lot of universal items too. So, well, that's the news on today's What's in the Box. We do have our second sponsor. Keep an eye out. I'm not currently talking to anybody else as far as any type of sponsorship yet, but this is what we're going for. So it kind of adds something else to our undertaking, this whole drift scene and all that. When you have some sponsorships, you're going to be spending the money anyway. It'll save you money. You have companies, smaller companies that want to try new products, and you can kind of work together hand in hand as you're building your brand. You can work with another brand and help. You know, they can't get to everybody and neither can you. So when you work with another brand, you guys are both spreading the information of who does what and the results, you know, whether it's a quality item or whatever. So that's what we're shooting for. So we're taking on sponsors. We're on our second one, and we're looking for more. So if you got anybody owns a business in your family or friends or cousins that's interested in following up with a drifting team, we're entry level. So I mean, we're still car guys, but we do all kinds of stuff, but we're entry level on the drift. And if you got a small business and you're trying to build it up, if it's something nationwide, worldwide, that type of thing, that's, you know, what we're looking for. Your local businesses will take sponsorships and all that, but our marketing after some point will be outside of the realm of local to us. So, you know, when you get people in California or Florida or something following our videos, you know, Tom's grocery store is not really going to be relevant to market at that scale. Now, your local people, that'll be great to do that, but unless it's a franchise or, you know, you own several across the country, at this level, it would be great for small sponsors like that locally. Anything from, you know, a few items, stickers, decals, as little or as extreme as you want to go, we'll promote it. If you want to get in and be part of this, just let us know. And if you want to email us, it's chesserenterprises@yahoo.com. Just shoot us an email there. If you want to message us on Facebook, feel free to do so, or Instagram, any of that stuff. You just want to message us and talk to us, and even some trucking companies, because trucking companies are worldwide. There's 2 of you I know. All right. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching our video. Shout out to our sponsors, and we'll see you on the next episode of What's in the Box. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be starting on the IS300. We're going to pull the rear diff out from under it and get ready to start welding it. And what else we got? We got to start pulling the brakes apart, the brake assemblies, to start doing the e-brake handle and stuff. Alright, so we already removed the axles from both sides of the rear diff, and so now we're going to have to drop the sway bar that goes all the way, and the problem is it's right in front of the bolts right there, and so we're gonna have to drop both sides of that to be able to get to the rear bolts right in there. And then once we get that, we'll have the drive shaft. Have to unbolt the drive shaft right there, and then we got a bolt there and a bolt there, and it should come on out. Okay, so I just unbolted these and dropped it, and so now, if you can focus in there, that gives where I can reach the actual bolts for the back of the rear diff. So all I had to do is just take 2 bolts out on each side, and I just hung the brackets. I always like putting the bolts back where they live, so that way they don't get scattered or whatever. And then on my calipers will actually zip tie them down so they don't go anywhere. Because if those things fall on you while you're underneath the car, it's going to bust your head. Don't ask me how I know. Alright, onto the Allen bolts, and then we'll work our way to the drive shaft. Alright, so we're pulling the Allen wrench bolts from here, and what I've got, it's a 1/2 inch drive ratchet with the actual Allen bit on it. Well, with this angle, once you get up in here, it's going to be hard to get any kind of leverage on this thing. So if you don't have a good breaker bar, or maybe a piece of pipe that you slip up on here, you can take an oversized wrench, because this car is on a lift, on a 2-post lift, and you don't want to be going all crazy. So this is what I would do for leverage. Just grab a wrench, and there it is. And we'll do all three. There's actually three, 2 on this side and 1 on this side. We'll do all three, and there's not enough room to back it out completely with this. So once it gets started out, I'll probably have to go down to just this, hand turn it all I can, and probably pop this off and finish threading it out, because there's not but just a little bit of room right there. Okay, so I got the 2 of those bolts out, and the weight of the rear diff started coming down, so I put a brace on it and actually put a little pressure on it to take off where it was actually adding pressure to the bolt to be able to hand back it out. So the rear end of this thing will try to drop a little bit when you actually take those 3 bolts out. So there's a little stress right there. So you may need something, a jack or something, if you're doing it on the ground, put a little pressure on the back of this rear diff. All right, onto the bolts on the drive shaft. We'll get those taken out, drop the drive shaft, and I think we'll be about down to the 2 bolts to drop the rear end. Smelling stuff ever. It's actually not that thick. I just didn't take the top off, and so it's almost like vacuum locked. I should have taken the top piece off. Wherever it's at, there it is. It's on this side. It should flow freely after I take this, open this one up. It should. That bad. I don't know if you can hear me over the heater or not. There was no major purpose to draining this other than if I do it now, I don't have to do it later and try to figure out how to hold it over something to drain it with, and it will make it lighter. I don't know how much this stuff weighs, but it'll definitely make it lighter somewhat. My battery's gonna die. But alright, I'm going to change batteries. I think we're down to the 2 bolts. Then we'll be able to drop the rear end. Drive shaft is off. Alright, so we got the battery changed on the camera. I'll let this finish draining. What I had to do is take these 4 bolts loose from the front of the differential. Instead of taking the other side and pulling the short piece of the drive shaft and having to take 4 more bolts out on the other side of the short piece. This has a carrier bearing, so it's a 2-piece drive shaft. Well, I only had 1 bolt on each side of the carrier bearing. I unbolted it and pulled it from inside the transmission. It just pulls out, it's like a slip yoke. And so it just pulls out of the transmission, so that way when I put it back, I just put one end in, lift the other side up, and put my 4 bolts, or put the 2 bolts in the carrier bearing, and then put 4 bolts here, and we're done putting it back together. So I did have to, it's got a little nub on the end. I did have to stick a pry bar in there and nudge it that way to pull it off that little nub on this end. But other than that, it's been straightforward, come right out. So I think I'm pretty much there. All right, let's let this drain for a little bit, and we'll get to it. We'll start dropping here in a minute. I may wait till my son gets here to help me handle it. These things are heavy. I could do it, but it's hard to unbolt these two big bolts and hold it. And I definitely don't want to drop it from 6 feet in the air. So we'll wait till he gets here. And I'm going to put these plugs back in before I drop it. That way it don't run everywhere. One thing, it made me think of this. One thing you want to do, this is a magnet. Any of these parts, you know, any of your oil pan, any of your differentials, transmissions, anywhere you can put a drain with a magnet on it, you want to put it, because what it does, if you have any loose metal shavings, if you have any kind of issues going on in any grinding or anything, this will actually pull the metal shavings down to the bottom. You don't want metal shavings at all if you can help it, but you know, if it's going to be welded on, it's going to be beat on and all that stuff, this rear end and the transmission and all this stuff. If you can put a magnetic drain pan or drain bolt on anything, you need to spend the $6-8 and replace everything with a magnetic drain plug. Oil pan, rear ends, diffs, anything that you can, because it draws anything magnetic that's come loose or broke loose. You don't want to cause any kind of problems getting sucked up into a pickup in your oil pan or anything, and have it will actually draw it to this magnet. And every time you change your oil, clean these off. You want to clean them off real well and make sure you get any debris off, so that way when you go back, it can start from scratch and start pulling any metal that may be in there, so it don't have it, you know, in your engine and causing problems. So that's definitely, these run under $10. You know, any, as far as I can remember, any like rear end plug or any kind of oil pan, most of your companies that offer these are less than $10 or so, maybe a few dollars more if for shipping or whatever, but it's worth the money, because this will absolutely draw any kind of anything that can be magnetized down to the lowest point, and that way when you drain it, it should pull it out of there or stick to here. So definitely spend a few bucks. If you're doing any kind of drifting, drag racing, anything, get magnetic drain plugs. We're almost done with this, and yeah, slow going. I was able to use the screw jacks to let it down one at a time. I put a little pressure on it, took these bolts out. I had to shift it a little forward and then let one side down and then kind of met the other one with it. So actually wasn't that bad. So you're talking the axles, 2 bolts in the rear, the drive shaft, you want to drain it, then 2 bolts on the top. There wasn't any kind of wiring to it or anything, not like the 350Z's got a speed sensors or whatever on the back of it. It's pretty straightforward. There wasn't a whole lot of parts to it, none of that. So, all right, let's manhandle this thing off of these things here, and we'll be ready to open it up and see what kind of shape it's in, clean it out, and get it ready to go weld. That's the main goal today. Let's get this thing out, and then today's Sunday. Monday we will actually go get it welded, get the rotors turned, get the front back together, get this resealed, ready to go back together and go in. So hopefully we'll get all that done Monday. All right, let's finish taking it apart. All right, so ultimately what you're left with is this going on. There's, you know, all the diff is gone, and these bushings, these things are pretty bad. I'm gonna see if I can't find like a press in or a replacement insert for those, or hardened bushing. But I got it out, and it looks like, from the looks of it, these things press out from this side, from the lower. So if it presses out that way, I'm going to try to get some new bushings here, some hardened bushings. I don't know what they offer for a IS300 in the ways of, like on the 350Zs, you can get the solid aluminum inserts. So I'm going to research that and see what kind of inserts or bushings we can get, and try to get the whole thing welded up and all that. We'll start taking the cover off here in a second. But And I'll definitely get some bushings ordered or some kind of inserts. I actually even thought about mixing an epoxy and pouring, like filling up the old inserts and pouring them with like a hardened epoxy and making it where it's going to be hardened. Just use the existing bushings and just pour them full of an epoxy, and maybe that'll harden them that way. I don't know. I'll research it and see what the fix to this is. Maybe they make an aftermarket hardened insert, but I don't know. I hadn't seen any, but I'll look. It's an IS300 if they make it for all the other cars. Surely they make it for that. So, all right, let me do some digging in.